capitalist as his AI policy advisor. Then Vivek Ramaswamy posted a lengthy post on X blaming American culture for the growth in foreign tech workers, saying it has, quote, venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. Elon Musk also defending visas for foreign workers, saying, I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Alrighty then. Joining us now, Jesse Moore, Democratic strategist and former White House speechwriter under the Obama administration, along with Rina Shah, former senior GOP congressional advisor. Jesse, I want to start with you. This has been a really interesting fallout between MAGA faithful and, not so faithful. You've got Laura Loomer, Nikki Haley, and Steve Bannon slamming the Doge leader's comments as they look to curb immigration overall. And then you've got this big pushback from the tech sector. How does Donald Trump, who paints himself as, a business-friendly guy, but also somebody who wants to crack down on immigration, how does he navigate this issue, not only in the wider realm, but within his inner circle?
We're just going to all start saying Doge casually, aren't we? It's happening.
I think Washington loves an acronym. Come on. It was inevitable.
It's catchy. I get it. We're about to find out. And I don't just mean in terms of what's going to happen with H-1B visas. I mean, in terms of this tenuous coalition that Trump just rode to victory. I think everyone's declaring this a decisive victory, and that's not wrong, but it's also a very finely knit together coalition that he relied on of people who it's almost like there's a Mar-a-Lago coalition, a wing of the coalition that just won, who think of his presidency as a place where you bring wine and gifts and flatter the host and get what you want. And then there's the MAGA wing of the coalition, which, they want to see the wrecking ball swing and take down the whole system. And we know that. We get it. We understand that. But the biggest piece of this coalition that he stitched together were a bunch of voters who were just mad. And he's speaking their native tongue, which is pissed off. And that coalition, if he starts doing too much to take care of the Mar-a-Lago crowd or the MAGA crowd going down ideological rabbit holes and not bringing down the cost of groceries, he's going to find out really quick how fast this can fall apart.
Yeah, criticism is certainly easier than consensus. Rina, I want to get your take. Silicon Valley has really started to rely on these H-1B visa programs, especially for people like high-tech engineers. How are you seeing the influence of these billionaires and tech magnates changing the conversation around immigration policy? And, Jesse just talked about his base. Where do you see Trump winding up with, the more populist camp or with these tech folks who are, many of them, making their way down to Florida to go see him?
One thing is for sure is that America has needed a serious national conversation about how we make America great vis-a-vis immigration. It's been had in Washington and it's been debated hotly about who merits being here, right? But one thing we've never really seen is a fight out in the open about one particular visa program like this. Now, I'm an American of Indian descent. My parents immigrated here, and I see Silicon Valley stacked with a great many of my countrymen, I guess. Ancestrally speaking, Indians are dominant in tech, and people know it. If you're going to not take Musk's side on this, you're not going into the future for America. You're not rooting for America, actually, because in othering these Indian Americans, what you're doing is saying they're not like us because of one thing, this. Skin color. And that's just flat wrong. So one thing we need to talk about in the Republican Party is how these people should not be taking up the oxygen. And these people are frankly racist. It's been dubbed as a Musk versus MAGA fight. I refuse to believe all MAGAites are racist. I just don't see it that way. One thing I think we can agree on here, though, is that capitalism does create these cultural dilemmas. And that doesn't mean that capitalism is bad. It creates good outcomes in so many ways. But this is an ugly side where you start to see people who have these really horrible views look around and say, look at these examples of people taking our jobs. Hey, buddy, you probably wouldn't be having a great many good things happening, technologically speaking, were it not for these workers who took advantage of this visa program.
It's almost as if these issues are really complicated and nuanced and probably shouldn't be boiled down to posts on social media. Jesse, I'm trying not to be Debbie Downer here towards the end of the new year, but we've got this new Gallup survey that shows just 19% of Americans overall are ending the year feeling optimistic about the direction of the country. That number is 30% among Democrats and just 9% among Republicans. But this isn't unique because you'd have to go back over 2 decades to find when more than half of Americans thought the country was on the right track. Why is this happening? If somehow the country constantly feels that they're on the wrong track and we're just knee-jerk voting for the other guy every time, do we rest